Let's onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
Okay, we'll do a little bit of loosening the body. Just starting with the vertical here. Yeah, so there's lots of ways you can use these exercises, and one of them that's a nice way to use it is really in a way to really unlock the spine and lengthen the spine in a way. So this is why the hands aren't really used, so the hands are really faded away. And for, especially in our case in Aikido, because we use the center a lot, moving from the center, there's a tendency in these exercises to start with the center kind of doing this, which is not bad. It's gonna move the body, it's gonna get the legs moving, everything's gonna go from below. It's okay. But in this case, think about the spine, and this first one is really in this kind of region, so it's right at the top of the neck. There's a nice image you can use, which is this, like a cabin and have a piece of string attached to the body, or a really light thread through the body. And just imagine that it's getting kind of drawn up. So imagine the body's really getting pulled up from the top and then sinking down from the top. So really think about, as well as loosening the spine, think about creating space and lengthening. So try and get a feeling that the center doesn't do it, which would be something like that. And this also allows me, if I use the center, to kind of compress the body. So I can do this kind of stuff with it. But when you do this one, you want to really let the head, especially in the top of the spine, really lengthen up. You're coming up onto the toes as well. So just let the body reach up. So it's a feeling. And the other thing, this image of having the thread in the body, is feel that the body's going to really move from the center. So right from the center of it, it's kind of pulled up. Sometimes people say about having a string on the top of the head, which is also nice. It's a little bit external, so get the feeling that right from the center of the body, you kind of get drawn up. It's got that kind of quality. And once you've got it, you just keep it. So the body feels quite light. You move right from the top. Just really keep the arms very inactive. Okay. Good. Good. And then you just move down. This is the front back movement. Again, if you use this kind of string analogy or a piece of thread, really imagine this part of the body's getting pulled out and pulled back. Just pulled out, pulled back. Again, it's very easy to do this movement in this kind of area from the hips, which again is fine, no problem. But it will allow me again to kind of compress the structure of the spine. So just again, think about creating space in this part specifically. And you're really trying to create a sense of space in that part of the spine. And really the movement's going to kind of really come from that place. You can think about a thread pulling, or you can also think a little bit more easier, but again, it's a bit external. It's someone pushing the chest and pushing or pulling the body forward. But you really want the sensation that the body's going to move from the core again. Just get in touch with that specific part of the spine. And creating some real mobility in that area. You kind of pull down. That's the. Yeah, that's it. Great. Great, good, good, good. Yep. 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 Good. Yeah, great. Good. And then again, side to side one, if you come down just a little bit further, you're looking at kind of the ribs, lower rib cage. Again, you really want the feeling that the body's going to get pulled side to side. So you can imagine someone kind of pulling the body side to side. And it's about creating mobility in this area of the spine. So I can do it with the hips, or even work like in this one, I can do what you can do with the head. Also will get the body in motion, but won't really open that part of the spine up. So just feel that part of the body going in this case. And think about both sides as it gets pulled one side. think about both sides going with it as well. You're creating space, and you're creating some mobility in that whole area. There. There. And at the same time, just exploring the weight shifting from the foot, from one foot to the other. There. 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 Stop. Good. And then coming a little bit further down, so you're going really into the waist, into the hips, and you're working now with the rotation. So again, using this kind of like you want, again, the feeling like the core of the body's getting turned out. So much really familiar for us, most of us, because we're training so much in the Aikido. The center of the hips really want to take the motion away now. So just give that here. And just let the spine keep all the length width from the previous exercises as you go. Again, just exploring the shift of the weight through the feet as you go into the rotation. Right. Okay, nice. Good, and then going right to the base of the spine into the pelvis. So this time you're really closing the body down and opening. And again, just get the feeling that the movement's going to originate from here and come out properly, come out from there. So it's really drawing in and out, in and out. So if you make this quite small, so you can really just concentrate on that area. So just opening, closing, opening, closing. And if you start to make this a little bit bigger, then let the movement really pass through the spine, and then you've basically got to take this into this really clear wave through the whole spine. So let it just pass open down the spine. And now the feeling as you close is that the spine's going to bow, so it's really going to kind of fold forward. And then as you open, the spine's going to open. And really feel that the hips, in this case the pelvis, is really the midpoint of it. So that think about the spine and also think about the movement going down into the ground. Big opening, big closing. Nice, nice. Good, 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 good. Good, good, good. Nice. Okay, good. And then the main thing for us is basically attaching the arms to the spine from the hips. So these exercises where we go down are also nice ones. So they work basically down the spine as you do it. So this first one, just letting the arms drop here. And you just want to have the sensation that you draw the hands up. So again, you can do these with the hips and kind of pull the hips up, but have the sensation that you're working the spine. So the very first one, feel that where the shoulder blades connect into the spine across the back, and just work that area. So you're just letting the arms kind of rock up and drop down, rock up and drop down. And just keep the knees bent a little bit, keep the spine relaxed, and just feel that area. It's a very small movement. Just feel it lengthen as you go. A little bit like just very gently pulling an elastic band. Very, very slightly. Drawing and releasing it. Okay, good. Yeah, great. Good. Good. Okay, then if you go to the next one, which is letting the arm swing through the legs. So you've got this movement, swing through the leg. Just feel the movement goes a little bit lower down the spine again. So the hips are released, the knees are released, and just feel that part of the spine. So it's this part is really going to do this kind of movement. So it's drawing through, letting them up. Drawing through, letting them up. And just feel where the motion is going to come from. If everything's relaxed, just feel where in the spine that movement's going to be based. Which part of the spine going to unroll? It's sometimes better just to make the movement quite small, so you can really do very subtle work with it. Good. That's it. Good. And now what you're going to do is let the arms go into a kind of pendulum, so they're going to swing side to side like this way. So again, look where in the spine it's going to be released from. So release the knees, release the hips, release the shoulders, and just try and get the hands to start to move in that movement. So you'll find, or I find it starts here in the ribs. So it's going to start in that kind of motion. Just let the arms start to swing out. Keep the spine nice and soft, so you don't want to make the spine too rigid. So keep it soft. You can also, with this one, let the arms swing across the chest and out to the side. But you might find it a little bit easier to get the hands just work together for the first. Super light. All the time where the arms connecting into in the spine and the core of the body. There we go. Great. Good. Okay, the other one is where you're going to rotate the arms now. So you're doing this with the arms, the same as you do when you're up, but you're doing it down. So again, let the legs, let the knees release, let the hips release. Just feel that motion. So now the spine's really going to release. Again, just feel that when we do this exercise standing up, you've got this kind of figure of eight motion. Feel the same kind of motion. So it's really working the waist and the hips. There. Super soft in the spine. Getting closer and closer to the core of the body. There we go. Right. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, last one is using where the arm's going to come circularly. So you're going to come like this, down, again release, and really the idea now is to get the core of the body open. So opening, yeah. Again, you can do this very small. Just feel where that motion's going to originate from. And you can do this inside or outside. It's a little bit easier to do inside to out. You might find. But you can do both ways. And really feel a strong connection between the hips to the arms. Right the way through. Yeah, good. Good, and then with this one, just start to make it bigger. So you're just drawing the body up very slightly each time, opening the body, opening the body, opening the body. Start as you come up to the vertical, start to let the arms lift up. Lift up. Lift up. I really feel the body's going to bring up from the core. Bring up from the core. Big opening and big closing down. Let the arms pass right through the center. Really look at the movement. The legs are really now driving the movement. Yeah, very good. Okay, good. And then the last one, it's a little bit like the swinging exercise, but it's got a bit more focus in the hands now. So it's really like holding a sledgehammer. So you've got both hands together. You raise it right through the center line, just like you've got a sword, and you just drop it down. So just let the hands stop down. So the key with this, again, just like the swinging exercise is really let the movement come from the hips and the center of the body. So you've got this stretched out, and then just let it initiate from there. And keep a little bit of focus in the hands, just the right amount. Not to pull you out, but just to really give a focus to the movement. So you got it up, down. So you got a big opening with the body, opening right up, and then closing it right into the body. The whole structure of the side of the body, from the armpits. It's going to open and close down. Open and close down. Yeah. Good. Nice. Good. Okay, good. And then this follows the same dynamic, but it's a little bit got a different quality. It's focusing more on the up. So this was from Nick actually. If you imagine pulling a rope attached to a bell, so you're going to kind of pull it down, and then imagine you're still attached to it as it goes back up. So you're loosely attached to it. You don't want the whole body to come out of it, but you want to draw it down and then let the release come up. So you're really focusing on the down into the compression. hands a little bit further away from the body, and then just let them release. So it's like loading a spring down, and then release it. Down, release it. Down, release. We're also doing the same thing with the hands. Down, release. And then once you've got it, just start to bring it a little bit more flexibly together. So you bring it down, bring it down. A little bit like the hands hit a trampoline. Boom, come back up. But driven by the center of the body. There. And the legs just stay kind of rubbery as you do it. Yes. Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah, just in this case, just watch the spine, so don't lose any length in the spine. So as you draw up, keep this length that you've got here. So keeping the movement coming from the hip, keep that length as you come down. So raise it down, down, but keep the length and the width. Again, relating to sword work, we tend to be crunched and pressing down with the body. So losing the width in the shoulders and condensing and compressing the body, the top of the body down. So look to really open the back, the shoulders across, and lengthen up. So just think a little bit about the sword work now as you do it. Just look for that same kind of quality we're looking for. Really a kind of open position, especially keeping all the spine lengthened from the beginning exercises. Just feel that movement just progresses through the spine into the arms. Up and down. So. Oh, that's great. Great. Okay, take a BOKKEN. So just working with the hammy, just drawing up through and just keeping the BOKKEN swinging through. So just finding the back, just swinging through. Relating all these exercises, you really want to tend to blend through the whole spine. So all the time the spine's got a nice sense of length without being pulled up. So just a sense of its natural. And trying to maintain it as you reach into the ground with the feet. Looking specifically really to tie the arc in the arms into the spine. Yeah, and just take it into the focus. So just very lightly bringing the hands into it. Just finding the ground. Finding the ground. And you're just allowing now the hips to catch the sword. Nice, nice. Good, and just take it now into a really flexible movement. So as you find the back draw into the curve, the back draw into it. So you're really looking now to let the hips stay flexible through it. So don't stop as you find the back, just send the hips in. So the hips stay flexible. Again, keeping the spine really lengthened and width through the shoulder blades. Great, we're going to number 5. So just working with a 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒈. And just watch the body. So keep, this is really a flexible movement now, really one movement. So just let the hips drive it, bring the body in. Bring the body in. So really see it's one cut, one step, one cut. Wash. Good. And into number 7. So you can do the basic way, coming back to the top, thrusting on the left side, depending on the space. Let's work with it. Thrusting on the right side, thrusting on the left. Okay, we'll deliver the kumitachi. So we'll just start with number 1, working on the attacking side. So go straight into it. Just keep it nice and slow. So step by step, let the foot come out. Up, cutting on the left side, and then around on the right side. Just nice and easy. Really working on the balance. Nice, settled movements and really clear, precise movements. Yeah, and just watch this first movement. So when you do it there's a big tendency, especially when we're working with partners as well. It's like the solo work's really good because I can just focus on balance and I can focus on the ground. So towards this very first move that you don't get caught out in this kind of position. The body's really in that position. And then the next movement I'm going to do is either going to be pulled out forward, or then the tendency is to pull, the body's going to pull back more, so you end up in this kind of position. So the body's going to kind of come into a kind of real contracted position. So just look for this middle position where you're fully extended, but you're not overstretched out. And as you come to this position, you want to get fully grounded the body out. So look for the extension in this one. It's a really explosive movement, but really think where it's coming from is here. So it's a very tight movement. Don't pull the arms back, push them out. Just let them fall through there. Just in that position, and then just let the body guide the sword up. And then you come into that position there. So just look at that very first movement, these first two movements. There. The first thing is really feel that they're really balanced. And then you can start to add a little bit more power into it. So that kind of balanced position. Yeah. There. Okay. Yes. Very good. Okay, we'll look on the defending side. So switching the role, again, just going straight through the form. So you've got the raise at the invitation, drawing back, closing down onto the sword, and then blocking back on the left side, and then finishing with the 𝒂𝒄𝒂𝒕. So 3 movements. The first one's really divided into 2, but really just 1 movement. You've got the raise, draw back, drop the body down, stepping back, finding the block, drawing back into the finish. Just 3 moves. Nice, precise form. And then just work them together, so keep in a basic form. So the attacking row first. That's for the waist and for the head. Refine the line. Here, back, there. Fit in nicely into a set. Forwards and backwards. And back. Great. We'll look a little bit, just a little bit more fluid. So the first thing, first few when we do this, we'll just look at the attacking roll first. It's really focus on the footwork. So there's going to be a shift where the footwork becomes much more pliable in the ground. So you think about peeling through the feet, so the feet have really a kind of suppleness in the, especially in these first movements. So this. So keep it like medium speed and low power. So you can really develop a kind of thick connection through it. What you don't want to do is go fast and light. So keep the power down, but keep the connection very thick into the ground through the hands. So just working on that. Nice and slow. You want to keep all that settled, precise movement from the kihon. Just start to embed it into a flexible movement pattern. No. Good. And then just do the same thing going back now. So again, keep it nice and slow, but just focusing really on the footwork. So take the power down and really medium speed, or even actually slower than medium. It's like 30% speed, maybe less. Down, there, there. Just focus on those transitions between the movement. Don't let them become kind of light. You want them to be supple, but you don't want them to be too light. So they're supple, really anchored from the bodywork. It's really a change in footwork, hip work, rather than anything happening differently with the hands. Oh, yeah. Okay, again, work both sides, but just add a little bit more intention into the attack. So you can think about power, focus, all these kind of things, but I just think about a little bit more intention with the attacking. So I'm trying to basically add more pressure into the attack itself. So it's going to be a little bit heavier. So there's a little bit more focus, a little bit more intention to cut in, a little bit more weight, passing from the ground into the sword. And you can do the same back, but again, it's in this way in a kind of suppressive way. It's got a bit more of a feeling of suppression. Not the intention is to come in attack. Nice and that. Back really with an idea to suppress the person. Okay, give it a try. Just think more weight. Not so much about power.
Go, Michael.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Ben. I can't hear.
I need to go. Sorry.
Okay, Ben. See you soon.
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Very good. Very good. Ah, good. Nice. Oh. Okay, good. So there's one variation you can do on the attacking side, and it's faster. It's harder to defend against, but involves less hip work. So the basics really a way to involve the hips in it. So when you've got the basic, you're taking the back hip in and you're thrusting through with the front leg and then drawing the back leg in. And then cutting it. You do this one basic, you take the front foot out first. So you've got this position. You go straight in with the front foot here for the thrust. So this makes much more sense if you think about it. It's a much easier movement. But it's a bit more riskier in terms of it doesn't really, it's harder to stay off the line, and it's much more, it's easier for the person to catch the sword because I'm basically across here, and then I've got to draw the sword across into this movement here. So it's a bit more risky, but it's a bit faster also. So, and there's a higher risk, there's a higher chance that you connect with the person. So what you do now is front foot in off the line, and then attack through on the left side, goes like this. So you do the full form with the 3 attacks. Goes front foot, back foot, and then stepping in on the right side for the attack. So it's really taking out that back foot movement, whole movement. So you just go with the whole body in, there, goes like that way. And eventually this just becomes one movement. Just give it a try. It's a little bit of a variation on the attack. Goes in, there, and then there. Nice and fast. Super quick, very hard to defend against. Okay. And the last few, just back to the basic, just doing both sides again. So keep it nice and slow. Fluid as well. Just take the speed down. A little bit more concentrated. 4. Great. Okie doke. We will stop there. Domo. Arigato.
Domo, arigato gozaimashita.
Great.
Thanks a lot.